Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, after a few van travelling videos, I thought it might be time to come back to my life story. Well, the last time I left you in 2014, I just got back from my Epic's Coast Cycle Tour. Got back to London and was undecided what to do next. Now, age was catching up with me a little bit, I think, because I'd noticed while I was on my cycle tour, my eyesight wasn't as good, my hearing wasn't as good, I'd lost a crown and a broken tooth. And also, when I got back to London, I had a letter from the hospital waiting for me. Before I'd gone on my cycle tour, I'd had a blood test. And it wasn't good news, unfortunately. Apparently I had hepatitis C. But there wasn't any treatment available at the time. So I was going to have to live with it. Now the other things I could deal with, I had my eyes tested, yes, need a new prescription, so a new set of glasses. My hearing now was a slightly different issue. I've been suffering with hard hearing for quite a few years, and it was decided that I got to the stage where I needed to have hearing aids, which is not a nice thing to know, but find out about. NHS hearing aids, quite bulky. So yeah, I've got hearing aids. That's to do with the teeth issue. Yeah, it was mostly cosmetic. And trying to find a dentist to do the work was just as bad as it is nowadays. Eventually I got my broken tooth taken out and a new crown. As I said previously, I didn't like London anymore. I was unsure what to do about it. I spent a couple of weeks umming and ahhing. Should I look for a job? Should I do something different? Should I move away? And during this period, I got back out on the bike, but not my touring bike, my carbon fibre bike, and I go cycling up in the hills in Surrey. Now after all that time on the bike on my tour, I was flying up the hills where I used to struggle because the bike was so light, and it was like a therapy to try and decide what to do. Obviously money was now an issue, and I need to find work, or I need to find an income. I decided to take a time out and drive up to South Yorkshire to see my family. And when I was there, I realised I'd forgotten how beautiful South Yorkshire is. And after chatting with my family, I thought, I could come full circle and move back to Barnsley, where I was born. Now I didn't want to go for the private rental way, and after speaking to one of my aunties, I decided to apply for council housing. Because my mum was disabled, my brother had been helping look after her for quite a few years, and I obviously at the other end of the country had not been pulling my weight, if you like. So I thought, okay, I'll put that down. If I move back to Barnsley, I can be a part-time carer. So after a week in Barnsley, I've drove back to London. I've signed up for council housing in Barnsley. Not really expecting a great deal of progress on that, given that as a single person in London I would have been working for 20-30 years for a flat. But in November of 2014 I got a letter and they were offering me a flat. Well, they were offering me a bedsit. All right, don't really need much more. So I drove back up to Barnsley, viewed a couple. I thought, oh, that's going to be ideal. I can take up residency in February. So I've signed up. I'm going to take that flat. I'm going to take that bedsit. Now I need to go back to London to sort out some stuff. So over the next 2 months, I was in a frenzy of selling. Car boot sales, YouTube, no, not YouTube, eBay, Facebook Marketplace. I was offloading stuff left, right and centre. I mean, I had a full-on gym. I had my 3 bikes, my mountain bike, my racing bike, my fixed pedal bike. Hundreds of books. Lots of things that you amass over a 10-year period, really. This all was bringing money in, but I still had to pay my rent in London. So it was still costing me £1,000 a month while I was there. So eventually, in February, I give notice for my flat, arranged with my brother to come down with a van to pick me up and take all my stuff. So I was leaving London for the final time. I had a TV, a sideboard, a bed. That was about it, really. I managed to get rid of everything else. I left my washing machine and fridge in the flat, and I moved back to Barnsley. Well, to be honest, it was a place called Thurnscoll, which is a bit further outside of Barnsley. So I've moved into a bedsit, separate kitchen, separate toilet, bathroom, a lounge with a bedroom area off the lounge. So I moved in with the bed, TV, sideboard and a table. But I was still out of work. So I think after all these years I've worked, I thought, okay, I'll sign on the dole, apply for benefits, which I did. So I paid my rent and paid my council tax and give me some money for food. And then I started looking for work. Now I signed up with an agency to work doing similar type of stuff as the call centre stuff, and I got a job in Sheffield, and I was commuting every day to Sheffield. But now that I was wearing hearing aids, I found it difficult dealing with phone conversations. I also found it difficult working for the firm I was working for. Previously, yeah, I had breaks whenever I wanted and things like that. And being under the cosh to a certain extent, you know, designated times for this and that, and didn't really like it. So I left that job. Back on the dole. Now in them days there was, you had to go to courses to show you how to get a job. And if you didn't go to the courses, you didn't get any money. So I was going to a local college, and show you how to apply for jobs and things like that. I think after so many years in work, it was a strange experience starting again. I think I've been there for about 3 or 4 days, and just flicking through the jobs which were available, I saw a job working for Next. I thought, oh well, I'll stick an application in, see what they say. And I got invited to an interview. Now this is something I've never done before, working in a big warehouse, picking and packing. I mean, I thought about it and I thought, no responsibility, turn up, do your job, go home. Apart from it being manual, which might have been, you know, slightly different from sit on my arse all day on a computer, managing other people, I thought this would be quite straightforward. So I took the job. Now this is May time 2015. I've got a job. I'm working for Next. Bit of a shock to the system, doing the manual work, lots of walking. Hey, good for your health. Now if you keep watching, I'll start talking about some of the adventures I've done over the next couple of years. I should have probably mentioned that at the beginning. Now working full time, 5 days a week, didn't give me a great deal of time to re-explore Yorkshire. But I did manage to get out on the bike a few times. I went on the Transpennine Trail, which runs all the way through Barnsley. Found some nice cycle routes. So that's basically what I did. I was working 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, 2 days off, jump on the bike. A great de-stressor. Fantastic. Driving, cycling away in the middle of nowhere, out in the wilds. Does make a big difference to your mental health. But I was looking for something else. Now when you're working full time, then you get holidays. So my first holidays in 2015, I get a week off, middle of June. What should I do? I was thinking, rather than go cycling, let's go hiking. Now, I've always loved the Peak District, and I thought, let's go to the Peak District. So I booked into a bunkhouse just near the hill called Ingleborough, about 5 miles outside of Ingleton in the Peak District. And the more I was thinking about this, I could do the Three Peaks challenge. There's 3 peaks there, and people set off at stupid time in the morning to try and do all the 3 in one day. Now this is going to be a new thing for me, hiking. So I decided to maybe do 1 a day. So the first day I was there, I climbed Ingleborough. Some stunning views. But it didn't take me all day. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll finish this one, let's do the next one. So on the same day, I did Penny Ghent, which is the second hill there. Now that was a bit different. There was a bit of scrambling in that involved. The way I had ascended it. It was a little bit, a bit scary in a little bit, and coming down was also a little bit iffy. But I managed it. So I did 2 days, two mountains in 1 day. I'm not quite sure if they're classed as mountains or not. The following day I did Whernside, which is a little bit further away. So there I go. I've done all 3 peaks. But I haven't done the 3 peaks challenge because I haven't done it all in 1 day. And also while I was there, I went down to Ingleton. And I did the Ingleton Falls walk. Now I've been there quite a few times over the years. I remember taking my ex-wife and daughter there, and my mum. And you might have seen in a previous video, my water therapy video, I was back again. It is a worthwhile place to visit. And then, apart from tottering around and looking at different things, my holidays run away with me, and then I'm back at work. But I'd enjoyed the hiking. A little rucksack, waterproofs, and a bit of food and a bit of water. So it was a change from cycling. I was thinking, maybe I could do a bit more of this hiking malarkey. But I've got to go back to work and then get some holidays again. Now for the rest of that year I just worked, took time off on holidays, didn't do much on the holidays, a bit of cycling. And then I decided, what shall we do next? So in 2016, I thought I'm going to do an epic walk. Now, where should I do an epic walk? So I was looking at all the maps, all the different long distance walks. I got myself a decent sized rucksack. I'd have my 2-man tent and everything else from my cycle tour. I'm thinking Hadrian's Wall. Now, Hadrian's Wall. So that's Newcastle to Bowness. It's about 85 miles or something like that. I thought that might be quite a good adventure. Now, I've never done any big hiking before with a big rucksack, carrying all your weight on the back. But I thought, it's going to be an adventure. We'll try it out. So May 2016, I leave Barnsley, jump on a train to Newcastle. A couple hours later, I arrive in Newcastle, and I booked a night in a hostel. I was surprised at Newcastle. It was a Friday night, and it was heaving with people. And I think it's well known as a party area. The hostel was quite nice, and it was busy. So the next morning, Saturday, I set off on my epic tour of Hadrian's Wall. Now, unless you've ever done this yourself, it's quite difficult. When I was on the bike's carrying all the weight. When you're walking, you're carrying all the weight. And that rucksack was heavy. But I persevered with it. I think on the first day, I did about 15 miles. And that included quite a few stops to put the rucksack down. My back was killing me. My feet were killing me. I was thinking, what have I done? This is stupid. So after 15 miles, I found a campsite. And I put the tent up. Now I'm still in my little 2-man tent from when I was cycling. I've still got my little jet boil for food. It was quite a comfortable night. The weather was fine. But I was aching all over. I was thinking I've got another 70 miles to do. It's going to be quite difficult. But I thought I'd persevere. There's plenty of stops along the way where I could get a train if necessary. And I wanted to see some of the Roman ruins along Hadrian's Wall. So after packing up the next day, sticking everything in the rucksack, sitting on the floor in order to put the rucksack on, and struggling to my feet, off I trot again. Now the second day I made about 20 miles. And I made it to Vindaloo, which sounds a bit like an Indian curry, but it's the Roman settlement. It's quite impressive actually. There's a nice museum there, and there's lots of ruins to walk around. I spent a few hours there, and there was a place to camp just a couple of miles away from it, which is what I did. Again, exhausted. Not sure if this hiking with weight is really for me. But again, I get up in the morning, pack the tent away, and off I trot. 25 miles. So I'm increasing my mileage. That's probably because the next bit was quite flat and there wasn't many hills up or down hills. And I'm stopping every now and again to look at the different ruins along the way. I think Vindaloo is the best one, but there is quite a few dotted around as you walk along the Hadrian's Wall path. And there's also little villages off the path which you can visit. Another night camping, and it rained all night. And it was quite cold. So next morning wasn't that nice. Having to break down the tent with it all being wet. And the ground was soggy. So when I set off, it was harder going. And also I'd hit the period, a little bit where it was a bit hillier and slippy in places. And I was struggling that day. And I was back down to 15 miles. And it rained on and off during the day. So it was a bit of a struggle. Luckily I found another hostel. So I spent a night in the hostel. It's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to do the whole thing hiking and camping. But I sort of decided that at that point I would struggle on to do the whole thing, but I probably wouldn't come back and do it again. Next day, beautiful sunshine, really sunny. "25 miles, 30 miles. I did 30 miles that day. Mind you, I'd set off about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was nearly 9:30 at night before I made camp. But I was nearing my destination. That was a big push to make it so far. I just wanted it to end. So the next day, I made it to Bonus, and I was exhausted. I was glad to get back on the train, back to Barnsley. So returning home, I was looking back on that as an experience of something I don't think I want to do again. I don't mind the walking. It's carrying all the weight. That is the thing which takes it out of you. I mean, all kudos to the people who do these things. I probably did what a lot of people do. I probably took too much, carrying too much weight, clothes I didn't need. I didn't learn from my experience on the cycle because it was new. It's going to be a new experience. I thought I might need this, that and the other, and I didn't use any of them. So I think a lot of it, you have to plan these things down to the minute in order to get the best out of the experience. It was an experience, but not one I want to undertake again. A couple of days left on my holiday before I had to go back to work. Now I think I'll leave this one here. So this is chapter 5, part 1 of my life story. When I come back for chapter 5, part 2, we'll have some more adventures I'll be talking about. I hope you subscribe. If you've got any comments, I'd love to hear them. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this little talk. And I hope to see you very shortly. Bye for now.